and welcome to another Messy Church video from the Bognor Regis Salvation Army. This month we are learning about Pentecost, which we say is the start of the modern day church. Pentecost happens after Easter, which, as we know from last month, was when Jesus rose from the grave. It also happens after the ascension of Jesus, when he went into heaven. Just before he ascended into heaven, Jesus told the disciples to stay in Jerusalem, which they did. So please listen to the following story to find out what happens next to them.
So for this craft, you'll need about 45 to, I'd say, about 60 shells, as you can see Doreen has here. So it's just as well most of us live quite near the beach. I think we're allowed to take them, aren't we? Now Doreen's got a really sharp knife here, and she's managing to really slowly and carefully make a hole in each shell. Now I think it would be a good idea to get an adult to do this. As you can see, each shell that Doreen has chosen is really flat and really thin. So make sure that when you choose your shells, they are really flat and thin. Definitely don't choose any stones. After Jesus had ascended into heaven and told the disciples to wait in Jerusalem, the disciples had gathered together in one place when out of nowhere a sound like a violent wind came from heaven and filled the whole house where they were. I see what Doreen's doing. She's using the string and threading it through each of the shells, using that hole that she made in each one so that they'll all connect together. These are going to look really good. The noise must have been so deafening to those in the house. I mean, it was so loud, they might not have been able to hear each other talk. It must have been like a tornado. Perhaps not quite like that though. So Doreen's now threaded all of her shells on the 3 bits of string. So now she's going to tie them all together and she's going to have a lovely wind chime. Now here's the lovely Thea showing you all the ingredients and the measurements that you need. Now obviously we're not promoting a brand of supermarket here. You can choose any type of brand of flour or table salt. All will be very suitable for this lovely craft. They also saw what looked like tongues of fire. And those tongues of fire came to rest on them. And when this happened, they were filled with the Holy Spirit and were able to speak in other languages because the Holy Spirit had enabled them to do so. Now there's a lot of mixing here because you've got to turn it into a really thick, hard ball. So you'll need to add little bits of water, do lots of stirring, little bits of water, lots of stirring, and so on. Can you imagine how scary this must have been for them? Not only the wind, but what looked like fire coming down upon them as well. How do you think they felt? How would you feel? Scared maybe? Worried? Happy? Perhaps a bit confused? Oh gosh, I think I saw a knife again. So definitely get an adult to help you cut up the dough. And now you can see that Thea's trying to roll it into the right shape with her hands. And you'll see in a minute what she's trying to achieve. And we're going to be putting them in the oven in a minute. So again, make sure you've got an adult to help you with that. Ooh, candles. So they're candle holders. Oh, these are going to be really good. So here we go, getting them ready to put in the oven. Just make sure you've got that adult to help you with this, okay? I think I'll get one as well. They look really lovely. Oh gosh, Flames. Where's that adult gone again? Because they were still in Jerusalem and the noise was really loud, people started to gather together to find out what was going on. And when the disciples left the house, everyone that was listening heard them speaking in their native language. They were amazed that they could understand these people, who they knew to be Galileans. Now here's Kelly. She's using a pencil to put a hole in each corner of the paper. It's the same corner as she moves around, so if you watch her carefully, you'll see where she puts the hole, and you probably notice she put one in the middle as well. Where's that adult again? What does this mean? They asked. They're drunk, others replied. Do you know any other languages? How do you think the crowd felt after hearing that really loud noise and then these people starting to talk and they could understand them without a problem? Do you think they were shocked or amazed maybe? Fabulous. However, Peter stood up and said to the crowd, "Fellow Jews, and all of you who live in Jerusalem, let me explain this to you. Listen carefully to what I say. These people are not drunk as you suppose. It's only 9 a.m. No, this is what was spoken by the prophet Joel." Peter went on to explain what Joel had said, that he predicted this outpouring of God's Spirit. And Peter also explained what they could do now. Because of this, about 3,000 people were baptised that day, and they allowed themselves to be taught by the apostles and join in on the fellowship of breaking the bread, as Jesus did during the Last Supper. They also sold what they owned to be able to help anyone who needed help. In their homes they broke bread, ate together, and sang praises to God. Now Claire here is making a mini kite. It's quite fiddly, but if you watch her carefully, hopefully you can copy her. She's told me she had a go with it outside and it worked really well. giving it a go and see how well your kite flies into the sky. Now here's Sam. Now I don't think this one needs any explanation. Just watch and see. It's really cool.
As we heard from Heather, the disciples heard a great noise and saw flames, and they were filled with the Holy Spirit. As such, they travelled and spread the good news about Jesus and God. This is still happening now with people sharing the news about Jesus and God today. The disciples wanted to share, and this is true for us no matter what our age. This was a time of change for them, just as we are all in a time of change right now. When we say our prayer, think about God, Jesus and the Holy Spirit, and how they are with you no matter what. But also think what has been led for you to do as a Christian.
Lord, thank you through the Holy Spirit that you are with everyone throughout the world, even through the tough times we go through. Help us to hear you and understand you just as those disciples did on the first Pentecost.